Blood for the blood gods, skulls for the throne of corn. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it is time for chaos training, and today was bicep day. Yep, we're going to do a whole day dedicated to just biceps every week. I feel like that is what my arms need. I'm not worrying about them through the rest of the week. You know, my back day, I'm like, let's just focus on the back. Yes, we'll get some secondary stress, but I'm not even bothering to do curls at the end of that because I'm like, let's do biceps when they're fresh. So that's what I did today. I did 15 sets of curls, right? Most of them to failure, right? So again, I get people who are like, how are you defining failure? That was failure. You just saw me fail a rep. In the middle, I just couldn't lift it. That's what muscle failure is. So we started off with the strict curl. So note here a couple things when we do a strict curl. I'm trying to keep my torso movement nearly zero. I go to my full lockout at the bottom. That is where my elbows lock. I have the wrist cocked back. So what's the point of that? The cocking the wrist back is so that we take the load off the forearms. And so as we bring the bar up to our face, we continue to have a load on the bicep. Now, some of these I'm getting really fatigued. I'm not getting to my face anymore. Essentially, that is because the biceps are getting too weak to even get to the top. So the idea, though, is that it gets difficult at the top. And a lot of people don't realize that. If you have those wrists cocked back, there's a lot of bicep tension up there. Whereas if you have turned them into a wrist curl, well, it unloads the biceps at the top. We lose that shortened position, and it just make your forearms hurt and cramp. You get people who are like, my forearms hurt from straight bar. Well, there's your solution. All right, there's your solution. Now, I personally find these light my biceps up. One of the things I like about this exercise, I really just feel the bicep. That's it. Preacher curls, doing those with single dumbbell. Disclaimer, I chose this order on purpose, mainly because I like to take the same dumbbell and use the same weight all the way through and not bother to adjust it because I have adjustable dumbbells. I'm kind of doing these exercises in the order of easiest, hardest to easiest in terms of the dumbbell exercises. In other words, because I'm going to get more and more tired as I go, I'm doing like the alternating dumbbell curls last, because normally I could probably get 14 reps or so with this dumbbell. But if I do them as after doing all the other dumbbell work, it's a lot harder. Preacher curls being the strictest are the most difficult. So I found when I did these, I got 12 reps on the first set when I started with these with this weight, and then I got down to about 10. I think maybe for the right arm it was down to only 10 near the end. So the idea with the preacher curl, I'm taking these again. Most of these are paused at the bottom. So notice when you watch me even hit failure on these, where my elbow sticks. And again, I point this out. People will say, you don't lock certain things out. Well, if I hit failure and it drops down, that's lockout, right? So just watch what happens. Pretty straightforward. So I'm trying to take these to a pause. Most of the reps I'm pausing at the bottom, trying to get that further stretch that I can. So again, the idea, lower biceps, right? Lower biceps brachialis. So preacher curls are fantastic for that because of that stretch. The problem is people treat the preacher curl like an ego lift. Well, what do we mean an ego lift? They'll do a half rep only, right? They'll only do the top half. And they'll cheat, they'll lay back. So what ends up happening, they miss those benefits. Like that stretch at the bottom, that lengthened position, that is where this exercise shines. That's where it puts all the tension on the bicep. So what happens is guys, in order to get a heavier weight, they'll do partials and then they lose that point. And then when it does drop down and they do hit failure, if they don't catch the weight quick enough, they end up potentially rupturing a bicep. And it happens pretty often. So the idea here is to do that and to not cheat. So notice I'm positioning myself with my feet and everything to where I'm not really able to lay back and lean back. So I'm far enough over the bench that I can't use my body weight to lay backwards to cheat. Because again, this is how people get hurt. Because you start cheating when it's into that certain stretch position, that angle, if you look at it, it's how biceps get torn. Okay, and it's very easy to avoid. Don't treat it like an ego lift. Look at it and go, okay, man, I'm going to use a 28-pound dumbbell, right? That's not a lot of weight. But if you do these strict and you do them full range of motion, it's plenty of weight. And again, take those sets pretty much to failure. A lot of these, you notice I have to grab the dumbbell. So I get down there to the bottom on the last set, the last rep on the left arm. because the right arm, I just kind of pull it around to drop on the floor. And I have to reach up and grab it and pull it up because I've reached failure, right? I'm not able to get another rep. We take it until I get stuck at the bottom, right? And when I can't do another one, notice it gets slower right there, and then it's stuck at the bottom. That last rep was slower, and then we just stick. That's it, we're done. So these ended up being, about 10 to 12. The first exercise was 10 to 12. The other exercises I got like 11 to 12. So again, kind of notes that those exercises are a little easier than this dumbbell preacher curl because we're able to get some additional reps. At least near the end. Instead of 10 to 12 was getting 10 on the last set, we ended up getting at least 11 all the way through. So incline curls, I got to those. I'm like, I want to quit trying to just bring it part of the way up. I'm like, let's get the full function of the bicep. So I want to get the stretch position at the bottom, that I'm bringing it up and bringing them up a little higher, up towards the face. The first rep or so I did, and I'm like, no, what am I doing? Let's bring these up. Let's make it a full range of motion exercise. Work the bicep through its full range of motion, because that little bit of shoulder extension is one of the functions of the bicep. Same thing, they'll keep the wrist cocked back. So again, what I'm trying to do here, do that and then lower it under control. So what I want here is, again, get that stretch position, the lengthened position at the bottom, and then bring it all the way up so you get that other function of the bicep. Because the bicep has three functions. The primary one, obviously, flexion of the elbow, extension of the shoulder, first 30 degrees bicep, and then supination and pronation of the wrist. Now, I do all my back work pronated right now anyway, so I'm getting a lot of that. But for the dumbbell curls coming up, I went ahead and I do that full three movements. So again, with these, just again taking them to failure, going up until we just kind of stick at the bottom on the last rep. So again, I want to be clear here. Most of these sets are into muscle failure, if not every set. If we had any that fails short, it's maybe 2 or 3 out of all 15. So again, the idea, training the biceps hard, trying to work every function of the bicep. So again, because my biceps need the work, they're a lagging muscle. They've been neglected too much when younger from all the powerlifting. So now we double down on it. We get them caught up. So again, that means we just make sure that we thoroughly work the muscle. And I mean, keeping in mind, they get hit on all my compounds, all my pulling and everything works them. But I want to come in and really take them seriously with specialization 1 day a week, which does mean it's like, let's do as much range of motion as we can for the biceps. Let's take sets to failure. Let's try to work every function and angle. We know what all the functions of the bicep are. Let's work every angle. And again, 15 sets is plenty. I've seen people try to come in and argue, oh, well, no, you really should need more. Not really, 15. If we look at what I agree with most of the experts who say this 10 to 20, I think we're good. Plus, plenty of Mr. Olympias did 15, 16 sets of muscle group and won. So again, more than sufficient if it's hard, high quality work, which is pretty much what I'm doing here. Keeping in mind, we're still doing big compounds. This is just my direct work. So yeah, it's a lot. And I feel like over time, continue to do this, the biceps will come up. So then we do the alternating dumbbell curl. Now we get that supination and pronation of the wrist. And on these, again, just kind of counting reps the best I could. I think I got at least 11 on every set. I know I got like 12 on the first one. It might have been 13. But I think I got at least 11 on all of them. So again, the idea, alternate them. Let's work each arm independently, right? Work it independently, do it unilateral, so that we can put all that focus into each muscle as we go. And in this case, because we're working all three functions of the bicep, and we've already done this other work, right? We're working all three functions, working each arm at a time. This is making absolutely sure we're getting in and getting every last bit of what we can, okay? And that's the idea. So again, I wouldn't necessarily recommend training like this for every muscle group, but if you have something that is lagging behind, like for me and my arms, it actually makes sense to come in and go, okay, can I work 15 sets of direct work? Can I work every function? Can I get this stuff through full ranges of motion? And since it's all isolation, it's easier to take to failure. It's kind of hard to take big presses and squats and stuff to failure. We get close, but we try not to fail. But this stuff, we can take it all the way there, perfectly reasonable. we're probably not going to overtrain from that because, again, it's just biceps, right? They're just biceps. But we're also not cheating and trying to swing around really heavy weight to where we're going to get hurt easier doing that. So overuse is a little bit lower when we're being, fairly strict and just doing high reps with fairly light weights. So there again, you kind of saw we reached some muscle failure. And then we did one more set of these. So again, 3 sets of this. So this will take me up to 12 sets. And yes, guys, watching hopefully over this next week, the waistline will tighten back up a little bit. It's obviously a little squishy this week. As I trim the carbs down a little and bring fat up, that'll bring that in a little bit. But I'm keeping the calories high because I want to make gains. I want to make some nice solid lean gains. So that should resolve that. And then plus, as the temperature warms up, I don't deal with that cold, which really loosens my skin up even worse for some reason. And I've never understood why. I do not know the mechanism, but it's something I've consistently noticed. Again, these sets right around 11 to 12 reps, reaching failure there. I went to do that one and it just wouldn't move. And then we finish up with band curls. These were 20 plus reps. So with the bands, I'm trying to focus on picking a band I can do around 20. But now instead of doing these fast like I used to, I'm focusing on full range of motion. So I'm locking at the bottom, and then we're trying to get that squeeze at the top. And some of them we get right up to failure. I start squeezing for just a brief hold at the top. So a lot of this other stuff has been lengthened position, stretch position. This lets me get a really good contraction position. So again, because of the nature of it, it has more tension because of the band and the angles. So again, getting that contraction at the top, and then we get the overspeed eccentric because of that band jerks back down. It's tough. But my delts are looking pretty full there. So happy about that. So once I'm pumped up there, yeah, because everything's pumped at this point. Even though this workout was really short because this is isolation work with short breaks, but looking decent there. So I just need to tighten that waistline up and keep getting thicker, right? Need to keep getting thicker. So I feel like stuff like this helps. Got the bicep vein going, right? That's all in a good place. And then the final set here, I'm definitely about as pumped as I'm going to get. And I took it to failure, and then I kind of paused. I almost did a rest pause. So I think the last rep, I hit failure and I couldn't get it. I rated a couple seconds, and then tried to squeeze one more rep in. It's like, come on, we can get another. Let's do it. We can do this. And so again, took this one all the way to the limit, and then tried to squeeze out like one more, almost like a rest pause rep at the end. I got there, and I'm just like, it stopped, and then I was around 22, 23 or something, and then I stopped. I couldn't get the rep. I'm like, let me rest a couple seconds, squeeze one more. All right, we're done. Again, nice good pump by that point, and then I did a set of hanging leg raises, which I like to do most of my workouts and call it a day. So I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.